Hi there, Jonathan here from Sterling Southgate. Here we are on the Sterling Southgate Property Podcast live with Mr. James Warne. So I'm your host, Jonathan Southgate, and today we are live on Facebook, we're live on Instagram, we're live on LinkedIn as well. So today, as I say, we have James Warne from Nest Associates with us. So James is part of Nest Associates' rapidly growing estate agency network, and is renowned for his professionalism and high quality property PR approach to listing and helping his clients. So I'm just going to bring James into the stream and we'll have a good chat. Hi, James.
Hi, Jonathan. How are you doing?
Very, very well indeed. Had a busy day?
What an intro.
Well, do you know what? We set you up now, mate. So it's up to you to knock us all down.
I'm nervous now.
Don't be nervous. We don't bite. We put your name up on there so we know exactly who we're talking to. Right. So, James, just give us a bit of background about you, your background in the estate agency, what brought us to Nest, etc., etc. So go for it.
So my background in the estate agency takes me back to when I was 18 years old. So first proper job coming out of college, worked for one of the biggest property groups in the UK for about 5 years. Then I've moved to a self-employed role over the last couple of years, and now with Nest. So know a couple of directors there very well. So and saw how well they've been doing in the short time that they've been open, and have joined on. So yeah, it's all good.
So how's the self-employed life treating you? So obviously going from employed role with a national network to self-employed, how's that treated you?
Much better suited to me, I think. I love having more control over my own destiny. If that's not too far-fetched to say, I think I've being able to create a personal brand is, I think, something that's super important with the way estate agencies go in, but also it's just far more enjoyable. I think I find it more rewarding. So yeah, really well.
So it's funny, isn't it? Because I think I was just talking to you earlier about how my estate agency journey went. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, hear you fine.
So so like starting out for a country agent, especially particularly, and then moving into corporate agency and then leaving the field.
Yeah.
Starting out, I think initially we were cutting out photos and putting them on the front of window cards.
Yeah.
And I remember that the branch I was at that time, one of the first things, they were the first branch out of this whole network of 14, 15 agencies to get a color printer so they could print out their photos.
Yeah.
I remember going with the branch manager down to PC World to pick it up to make sure we got the right one. Right. And obviously then the market has moved on immeasurably since then. It's just gone silly, hasn't it, really? I mean, all the socials, the digital marketing. I mean, you guys with the drone footage and all that kind of jazz, it's phenomenal, really. And I mean, I followed a guy called Daniel Daggers for a little while. He's right? So he's been doing property walkthroughs and videos for 5-6 years. I thought that's coming to Somerset. It's got to come to Somerset. And then you guys just launched out with this whole new brand and profile, and just phenomenal, really. Really good.
hang on, John. My second camera's playing up here. I'm having technical issues already.
That's all right.
But yeah, no, I think there's been a quite long period of time where estate agencies actually been ready for all of these things for actually longer than now, but it's only seems like now that a switch has been flipped and we're all of a sudden doing it. I mean, I said I was in an employed role only 2 years ago. And I had Facebook 2 years ago. I had Instagram 2 years ago. I had LinkedIn 2 years ago. I had a video, I had the ability to video properties 2 years ago. All of this stuff was available 2 years ago and so on. But it seems like only within the last 18 months, it started to become really popular.
I agree.
So not only, it's not just the tech. I think it's just agency as a whole has just stepped up.
Yeah.
So
It's been brought forward as well with the pandemic, I reckon, because like
yeah,
that people couldn't go out and view houses.
yeah,
They couldn't. So
yeah,
how do you bring that sales impact of somebody walking through a door
yeah,
into someone's living room?
yeah.
Well, by like amazing photography and videography, that's the best way, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, during the first lockdown, I mean, estate agency were lucky. We were able to go back to work. I think it was the middle of May. We were actually able to go back and operate relatively as we were before. But for that month and that half, those 6 weeks where we couldn't leave our houses at all, I still had a laptop and a mobile phone, so I was able to have properties on the market. And we prepped and got all of the videos done on all the property. There was a couple of sales that took place where people bought the properties straight off the back of videos and virtual tours and things like that. So
I love that.
yeah, so I think it's finally there's a bit of a revolution almost to actually get a estate agency to as good as it can be. And get in line with the tech that is readily available to us.
Yeah.
As I said, a couple of years ago, I didn't even use a mobile phone to speak to my clients. I used a landline phone and an email address. So there was two ways you could get hold of me as an estate agent. But I carried a smartphone in my pocket everywhere I went. None of my clients get. It's just,
So this thing here, the smartphone, is like it's changing industries hand over fist. Obviously, property, ourselves in financial services. I mean, we're now more accessible than we've ever been. So I'll get clients booking me through Facebook, through our link tree, through like where else, like LinkedIn, all the different social media networks.
Yeah.
But I've got the office literally under my hand. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. It's not only beneficial for clients; it's also beneficial for you as well. It makes your job easier, which means you do a better job. So it's there's benefits. It's not just all of a sudden now your job's a bit easier than it was. It's actually that reflects on your clients, and they're getting a better service because of it. So it's definitely much better.
So we've got a few things to cover tonight, and I suppose what I wanted to do initially was get your feel of how the market is right now, because obviously the last 18 months, 24 months have been all over the place. We had the market effectively closed for 2 or 3 months. Then everything opened officially and people could view in like July. And since then, it just seems to have gone absolutely bonkers. Yeah. So how's the market today and what sort of challenges are you facing?
Yeah, so to be honest, my main challenge has been trying to get people to take the step and come to market. The objection that I'm getting from pretty much everyone that is looking to actually move house and buy on is there's nothing out there for me. I keep missing out on properties that, there's nothing that I want to move to. So therefore I'm not going to put my house on the market. And then a couple of weeks go by, the property they want comes available, and they're just caught in this vicious loop of I'm not going to put mine up until one that I like comes up, miss out on that, retreat, and so on. So my main challenge is trying to get people to understand that you need to take the plunge, get on the market, find a good buyer that suits your time scale, because the beauty with the way the market is that there's so much demand. You can pick your buyer. You can you can have 10 people view your house, half of them will offer. You can say, well, this person suits my time scales really well, I'll go with them. So get yourself in that position, and then you can go out and find your dream home. But it's pushing people into that, which is the right thing to do, but it's daunting. And I get it. I do get it from putting myself in their shoes, but it's just getting people to do that is my biggest struggle at the moment.
So I think we're on the other side of it. So obviously, clients will come to us and they'll get that little bit of a steer over what can I do, how can I do it. And I think like there's nothing quite like turning up to someone's house knowing you've got a buyer behind you. And that's the age-old thing. We've been talking about it in agency for years. It's just like, people don't buy from people who aren't sold. So you need to be in a position to go, right, we've got a buyer behind us. And because of the market and because of how much activity there is there, those buyers will hang in. They all
Yeah.
hang in there, right? They're going nowhere.
And this is it. They will hang in there because they've probably been through the same struggles themselves.
Yeah.
They've probably been waiting for your house to come up and for however long before they could make an offer on yours. So, you know, it would be almost wrong for them to think that you're just going to turn around and move out next week because they want to move in. You know, everyone's in that same boat and everyone's facing that same challenge, but it's just so daunting for people to move house to where am I going to move? I don't know. But something will come up. I had one recently where we had this same problem, and she was just so fortunate with the way that we had a load of offers on the table, and she almost felt so worried about accepting something. But literally at the right time, when all the offers were on the table, something came up, and I was sort of, you know, you reflect back and you think, if you weren't on the market and you hadn't had these offers on the table, you would have missed out on that one. So, and once you're in that situation, it makes perfect sense. But it's just getting people to make that leap, to just get on the market, find a buyer, then find a house.
You need to be buyer ready, and we talk about this a lot in financial services. Is like, how can you make yourself the most attractive proposition to a seller? And this is going from first time buyers right the way through to seasoned property buyers. It's how can you make yourself the most attractive option? And there's a couple of things there, isn't there? It's like, who can move the quickest, who's willing to bring the best package to the table. That might not be, you have to be a cash buyer. It could be mortgage decision in principle is ready to rock and roll. You know, you've got a good broker, there are some around, that's really proactive and wants to get a mortgage offer out for you quickly. You've got the right advisors, you've got that team around you that can make you that best prospect. So I mean, that's the buyers, that works for the buyers. But what about sellers? I mean, in a market where your property is, you know, there are lots of buyers for the property, but there might be a few properties on the street at the same time. How do you make yours stand out? I mean, how do you present that property for sale to get the very best possible buyer price and outcome?
So a lot of it I'll take care of. So there's lots of ways that we can look at that, and, you know, and make your marketing different to what else is out there. But I think it's simple stuff. I think for people that are trying to make their houses as presentable as possible, decluttering, I think, is the main one, because when we're taking photographs, if one of the worktops in the kitchen's a bit dusty, that won't pick up on the lens. But if you've got a load of washing, you know, load of dishes that need washing on the side of the sink, that's very visible from the lens. Decluttering's my big one, I think, for presenting the property as best you can. You have to be really careful when you're going to start sort of spending money on making it more presentable, because you can find yourself in a situation where you spend more money making it beautiful, and that money won't be reflected in the price that you achieve. So you do have to be really careful with that. And I usually just recommend, if you are going to do things, touching up bits of paint and things like that, maybe a new carpet here and there, but ripping out kitchens, knocking walls down, replacing bathrooms can often be a step too far. But it really depends, and will advise on a case-by-case basis. From the marketing side of things, photos are super important. So using wide angle lenses, making sure the lighting's right, making sure you come on a good day. Although a lot of the times you can, we can edit it and brighten them up and things like that. Video is super important. You've got to have a video. Social media is a wonderful tool that you can use. Videos are really, really engaging for people. I think video is the most has the most traffic and above any other content on Facebook especially. So
Well, that's what the algorithms are geared for, that, right? So the algorithms are geared to promote video at the moment. So if you look at Instagram, you look at Facebook, you look at LinkedIn, it's one of the reasons that we choose to do this live and on video, not just record it. It's because you want to try and get maximum engagement, as many people engaged in that property and engaged in that conversation as possible, right? I mean, for me, it's like that's where the market has just come like so leaps forward. Because we used to have the odd person use like photos and then they'd scan in and out of the photos as their video, right? So you have like you take nice professional photos, which weren't even mandatory like 5 years ago. There are agents, there are very few agents, in fact, like crikey, 2010, 11, we're going back 10 years ago now, crikey. 10 years ago, I used to have a Pinterest board of accidental agent selfies. So I used to go onto Rightmove, and I used to basically pick out all the local estate agents and put their photos on Pinterest by just taking a photo of themselves accidentally. I found it hilarious. By that, what I was trying to do is to say, you're selling a lifestyle, an asset here. Shoddy photos. There's no place for it in the market. There's no place for it.
Not at all. And also as well, the going back to tech and stuff, the tech's there. You know, iPhone 11 and upwards, there's a wide angle lens, and you ask a lot of photographers and things like that, they back the iPhone camera from the 11 upwards. You know, they'll vouch for it and say that it's good. It's not. I mean, I'm sure they would rather use their cameras and things, but that is, you know. And there's plenty of software that you can take on, Lightroom and things like that, where you can edit them really well. You can get presets online. There's the stuff's there in your pocket for a lot of people. So yeah, there's no room to have poor photos.
Well, this is like, again, like we always used to say, like selling an asset is like selling a home rather is you want to try and create the lifestyle of the person you want to attract into that property. I remember selling a property in Bishop's Hull, and that property, like, it had been on with another estate agent for about 6.5, 7 months. And I walked in, and like the living room wall was just purple, right? Dark purple. They had one of those movable fireplaces, like the electric set freestanding ones. They put it in the middle of the room, like in this like living room, dining room. So I just said, look, it's going to take a weekend, but we'll get this property sold for you. And they were, what do you mean? So that wall needs to be painted a lighter colour. And you need to move that fire from there into the middle of the living room. So you're segregating living room, dining room. Sold it first viewing, full asking price.
There you go.
Hands down. And they were like, no one's ever said to us to paint that wall. We had 6 estate agents through the door. No one even suggested that could be the reason why it's not selling. But it's your job, in my view, it's the agent's job to advise the client how to get the very best possible outcome for that property. And if that's like, I know you like purple, but it's not really doing it in the market, or it's not photographing very well, that's a conversation that needs to be had. And they will every single day, they will thank you time and time and time again.
And also it's your job to give that advice, isn't it? And to let them know that you know, these are the steps you can take, and it does make a difference. You know, the amount of times that another agents had poor photos, and you know, just the quality of the photos is poor, or even the front photo. You know, it's just taken from the wrong angle. You got the bush in the front, so you can only see 3/4 of the house. Just that, it can literally just be that, and
that's where taking those elevations with drones and stuff like that, it kind of just elevates the photography as well, doesn't it?
100%.
So let's take a look at where the agency game is going then. So obviously we talked about how far it's come. So it's come from cutting out photos, putting them on the front of window cards and putting them in your window in Ilminster, to like fantastic high definition 4K video, and all the editing that comes with it, music, voiceovers, that kind of stuff. So for me, the most interesting thing, and this is something that wasn't really available when I was an estate agent, was you either worked for an independent or a corporate estate agency. So obviously, and our hybrid roles now, like yourselves, so working under a banner as self-employed, which I think is fantastic. Where do you see the industry going in the next 5 to 10 years? What does that look like?
I think for your self-employed, employed and stuff like that, I think you will definitely start to see more self-employed options available for people. I think there will always be a place for your employed, more traditional agents that we're all used to here in the UK. But I think that the self-employed route isn't for everyone. It really isn't, and that's that's fine. But I think
horses, right?
I think that doing it myself, I can see why people wouldn't like it. I love it, but I can see the reasons why people wouldn't like it. So I think
there's no security, isn't there, still for that employed role? And working for an established traditional firm, it's a different ball game. It's a different level of pressure. There's different. It's no better, no worse. It's just different, isn't it? That's the way to view it.
Yeah, definitely. And also, as well, in fairness, I think there's an element of you need to really love what you do, I think, to be self-employed and take that route. And people don't always really love what they do. And again, that's fine. But I think if you're not as passionate about it, sometimes that's a better route to take, to go down the traditional route. But I think you'll definitely see more of the self-employed side of things. I think the personal brand, and that's going to be way more important. If you look at places like America and Australia, it's all about the personal brand. There's people's faces on for sale boards and all that sort of stuff. I can see that coming through way more. I think that people will be, or estate agents will be rated on their social media presence. I think we'll get to a point where, so like, say 10 years ago, it was, oh, well, they're on the high street. Yeah, they're on a high street position. They get loads of people walking past their window. So they're, I'm
all about footfall.
Because they're good. I think in maybe 5, definitely 10 years time, you're going to go, okay, well, this person's got 1,000 more followers than the rest of the and they post more regularly, and they look at this and look at what they do. And I think that will have more. That will carry a lot more weight than what it. I mean, I don't know how much weight it carries at all at the moment, but I think in 5 years' time, that will definitely be a reason why you'll start to hear that more in the sorry, I didn't go on with you. I went on with them because I looked on their Facebook and they have a higher following, and I think that will be.
It's that instant exposure, isn't it? Especially where you've got in a competitive market where you've got a number of followers already, so you can almost pre-launch before you get to, and that's got to be the angle, right? It's got to be, if you follow us already, it's a lot like being on our mailing list. You're going to get a digital preview of this property before it hits any of the portals.
We have people that will, are waiting, waiting for the previews, waiting for that coming soon shot that you get, and they, tell me more about it. I want to know more, and it won't be another few days to a week before it goes live. So that happens now, but I think you'll start to see way more of that, way more, and that, like I said, that personal brand will mean a lot more than the name above the door or. Where the office is. So
personal brand's really important. I think this is where a lot of brokers are missing a trick on this as well. A lot of mortgage brokers are missing a trick. So there's lots of traditional firms or quasi-traditional firms that have got a self-employed model underneath a big brand, and yet they only care about the brand. They don't care about the individual aspect. Branching out on my own, taking this jump into self-employed, I look at my personal Jonathan.mortgage advisor following, then I look at our brand, which everyone's streaming in on Instagram. It's like 70 people plays 270 people. Do you know what I mean? That's the impact of personal brand. And people buy from people, right? Regardless of what service it is, what profession it is. So I think the leveraging of personal brand is going to be the biggest key to unlocking certainly the millennial generation coming through in the next 5 to 10 years buying. They'll be used to using Instagram, they're used to using socials. They want to see that property in their pocket. As much as they'd like going on Rightmove, they want to see the pretty picture. They want to see it right there, right then. They want to contact the person who's selling it there. Bang.
Yeah.
The power of that is just another level.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just so accessible.
Yeah. Well, I think there are businesses that are doing that now, you know, that I think you've got like some restaurants and cafes and things like that. And I think that, I've had that before. I've wanted to book things in, and you go on their Instagram page and you hear someone say, oh, well, that restaurant's great, and you go, okay, and you look on their Instagram page, they've got loads of followers and they've got all these really nice pictures of the food and the restaurant itself, and then you message them and you can. I think you do see that within other businesses, and I think you see it massively. Certainly when it becomes more of a people related business like a estate agency or mortgage advice is, I think it's going to be huge.
Yeah, I agree. And that brings us on to social media. So, I mean, I think the really important thing, we've already discussed how important it is, but just give me a rundown. How important is social media to you, to your industry, to delivering your message to clients?
Yeah, I would be. I think that if I didn't have, I don't know where I would be without it. I think at this point, because everything that I do, I share on it. All my successes and failures, I share on it. I feel like I've got a support network. I often do videos thanking people for the support they give me. I get like Facebook groups and things like that. You know, local Facebook groups are massive. It is, and it will be, and I think it is at the moment, and it certainly will be very soon. If you're not using social media, I think you are missing out hugely. It is super, super important. Like I said, I don't know where I would be now if I didn't have it. I don't know what I would be doing and where I would be at now if I couldn't use it. Because I mean, 90% of my leads and people that use me to sell their home comes from some form of referral or recommendation. And that comes through social media. You know, those people message me on Instagram or on Facebook or LinkedIn. So yeah, absolutely paramount.
Brilliant. Excellent. I think there's a lesson in that for anyone starting any new business, really. Like the amount of people you can reach from just leveraging using your mobile phone with social media. You can go from naught to, I mean, you don't have to have thousands of followers. You just need to have engaged 150, 200 followers. That's more clients than you can reach by going around knocking on doors, right? So I think and again, we've mentioned it already, you're directly in that person's pocket. You're right there. So if they have a question, like I got a message from a client. I think I said this to you. One of my clients is a bank nurse at BRI, and she messaged me on I think on Facebook or WhatsApp, like middle of her shift, 2:00 in the morning. Right. So obviously I had to explain to Mrs. Southgate that it was a client, which was, but it's all right, she's a nurse. But it's like the concept of like being that accessible, I think is really, really important. So any form of social, it's just, if you're not leveraging it as a new business or as an agent or as a mortgage broker.
I think the comparison that I like to use is because we always used to go canvassing, dropping leaflets all the time. Spend loads, especially when I was like new. That was my 10 till 2 every single day. I was dropping leaflets. I had to get a new pair of shoes every month, and I couldn't even afford them either. So I was losing dropping these leaflets. But anyway, like if you think about the amount of leaflets that you would go and drop in a day, you know, that would take you to drop 100. I don't know the rates, depends how big the house is, but if you spend however long dropping 1,000 leaflets, however long that takes, you can go into a local Facebook group. You can go into Taunton Facebook group, and you can share a post with the identical information that's on that leaflet, and it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. Doing that, you reach the exact same amount of people, if not more. I don't know how many people are in the Taunton Facebook group. But
3,500 people.
3,500. So how long is it going to take you to drop 3,500 leaflets compared to writing, putting a nice photo up or picture that's a bit engaging, or doing a video that's a couple minutes long and just saying, "Hi guys, I'm an estate agent. I sell houses. come and use me, come to me for some advice.
Yeah.
And that is what social media is. That is the beauty of it. So if you're not using it, use it.
One of the most powerful videos that I put out was a 4-step process to our service, how we operate. Just broke it down into 4 steps.
Yeah.
And I got, I think, about 8 new leads off the back of that one video.
Yeah.
Brokers aren't allowed to knock doors. We can't do it. We're not allowed to go and knock on doors asking for business. So that's 8 people that just would not have come to me had I not put that video up.
No.
And it's about how do we deliver that service to clients. And from your side, it's the PR element of it as well, being able to create a buzz around a property, that PR that comes with it. For us, it's about how do we convey our service to clients? Because, I mean, a lot like you, I mean, a lot of our stuff is referrals. So we do friends and family for referrals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think social media is just, you can't say it's the future, it's the now. It's like right now, over the next 5 to 10 years, this is exactly where, if you're not fighting for space and doing different things on social media, then you're just going to be left behind.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, you could be too late as well, because it takes time to build a bit of a following and you know, and put content, get used to putting content together as well. It's something you kind of need to learn how to do, and doing videos and stuff and talking in front of the camera for the first time is so weird. So you know, I think
a couple of times it's like hi, and outtakes. I mean, I look at my camera roll some days on my phone and I'm like, how have I done 42 takes of that one video?
I delete immediately. I no, just forget it happened.
It's just erase it from the memory and move on.
Move on. Yeah. But yeah, it's got to be done.
So let's have a rundown of where we think the market's going then. So obviously we know where the property market, so some predictions maybe the next 12 to 24 months. You say your bit and I'll give my bit on where we think mortgage rates and stuff are going to be. So you shoot from the hip, go for it.
I think it will start to cool down. I think the craziness that we've had over the last year will slow down a bit. I do think that it's not going to go dead. I don't think it's going to go dead. I think it will just slow down to a more sensible level. I think probably is the best word to describe it. Things like a few hints of interest rates going up, stamp duty holiday finishing, COVID restrictions coming to hopefully an end. I think that's going to start to encourage people to maybe not focus on home so much, like we have been forced to over the last 2 years or whatever. So I think that focus to home is going to fade slightly, and people might start focusing a little bit more on going on holiday, buying a new car, living their lives, which I think will take some demand away from the market a little bit, and we'll see a little bit of cooling. And I think that will happen over the next 2 years. I think it will still remain very healthy.
I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think, like, when we talk about the market cooling, it's just been so hot for so long that, like, you know, since July 2020 through to now, because of the stamp duty holiday, because of an artificial suppression in rates, it's just meant that lenders who weren't lending in, let's just say, March through to July, they've offset a lot of their higher risk debt, so they're 95% debt, and they've just been leveraging right at the lower level. So hence those 60 to 75% loan to values have been like ridiculously low rates, like sub 1% in some areas, right? I think I echo that. I think, like, you know, when we say Zoopla came out today and said they expect sort of 3% house growth over the next 12 months or in 2022, that's still growth. Like, it's still 3% more than your house is worth today. That's the prediction, right? I mean, region for region, if you look at, say, the nationwide house price indexing as being in finance, I'm like, let's get the numbers. But you look at that and you say, like, South Wales as a whole increased 15% in the last 12 months. It's unnatural. Unnatural. So we just need to get used to people going back to, as you say, living a little bit, going on holiday. That kind of race for space where they were like mid-pandemic and fed up of seeing these four walls. I need a bigger garden, or I need a garage so I can convert it into into an office, whatever it might be. I think that is coming to a natural end.
Yeah.
We're going to get back to a sense of normality. So when it'll feel like the market's cooling from where we are, but that's literally like taking a poker out of the fire, to leave it on the side for 5 minutes. There's still going to be some warmth there. There's going to be appetite. I wonder if people like who have been on their sort of 2-year, 5-year fixed are coming to an end and now going to be starting thinking about moving. So there's still a good market. There's still a market. I mean, there's something like in January alone, there's something like £40 billion worth of mortgages due to come to the natural end of their fixed rate. So that's potentially a load of people moving.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there is an element as well of people have been a bit put off. I think there will be some people that have been put off by the heat over the last 12 months. And I think those people, when they hear that it's cooled down a bit, I think that will actually, encourage them to come to market and actually move now. I think, well, actually, I tried to move back in 21 and it was carnage. We couldn't find a house. It was a nightmare. So I've heard that it's cooled now. There's actually a few properties, those people that I spoke about earlier when we started and said that those people that were finding it really daunting, that objection will drop and those people will come to market and start moving again. So I think
you've got different types of buyers, and you've got people who are willing to just scrap tooth and nail to get a property, regardless of how much they have to spend, as long as it's within their budget. Then you've got other people who just want to take a more measured approach to selling and buying. I think like we are in the third oldest market in the world, property market, right? So it's the third oldest market in the world, buying and selling houses or land or property. So when you consider that it's been there for so long, it's going to be there for time to come. So I think like looking at the next 12 to 24 months, swap rates for basically the rates that banks use to kind of measure where they're going to put their rates, if that makes sense. The swap rates, so how much they lend between each other, they've just gone up massively. So we're now expecting those sub 1% rates to start creeping up and up and up. But it baffles me. This industry will always baffle me, I'm sure of it. But it baffles me considering, a week ago I had like 3 or 4 lenders one day say we're putting our rates up. Right, okay, so things are happening, things are changing. Great, okay, so I've got that in my mind now. The rates are on the move. That's grand. Okay, we know where we are. We need to get our clients who are remortgaging in the next 3 to 6 months to sit down, review their options, and then lock in for a good 2 to 5 year rate now. Take advantage of it effectively, Then I've got like an email or two from a different lender saying, oh, by the way, we're reducing our rates. Like, well, hang on a sec. Like, where's the market? You know what I mean? But then you look into the detail and you think, well, they are higher loan to value. So they are like, they're 90-95% loan to value rates that were at one point 3.99% mid-pandemic. They're now 2.59% in some areas, in some circumstances. Obviously, it's down to, and I've got to put this in there, it's down to each individual person's circumstances. You're not guaranteed to get a rate. You're not guaranteed to get a mortgage. But, the concept being, rates are, on the whole, there's an attitude in the market that rates are going to increase because they can't go further south from where they are. But so on that rather unscrupulous note, that I might have to delete that at a later date when we start talking about rates. But overall, I think 12 to 24 months, we'll see that cooling. I think you're right. But there'll still be people who are serious to buy, and there'll still be people who are serious to sell. It's a case of just still positioning yourself, giving yourself the best shot with making sure you've got the right marketing, the right exposure, and the right agent. And obviously having that team around you, that sort of good solicitor, good mortgage broker, good estate agent. So you've got that full holistic advice, being able to take you from A to B, sale to purchase, purchase to onward purchase, whatever it needs to be.
Definitely.
Cool. So that's pretty much everything we've got time for today. So the time has flown. We've got a few people who have come into this a little bit late, so we'll make sure that you can see this, watch this back as well. We've had, actually, as usual, you come with your fans. So there's a couple of people who have given you a shout out. Can't go back far enough, but they were right at the outset. Bear with me one sec. No, can't find them. There are people there that have said hi to you, not to me. Standard.
I know.
It's just part of the part of the fun. No one wants to speak to an estate and mortgage broker. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, look, just want to say a massive thank you. If anyone wants to reach out to you, I know we're live on Instagram, we're live on LinkedIn and Facebook. If they want to get hold of you, how is the best way to get hold of James Warne?
I think, to be honest, the beauty of the way I work is you can really get hold of me anyway. So will people be able to like be connected to me through the platforms that they're looking at?
Yeah,
Watching
so yeah, we'll be able to get them. They'll be able to watch back, and I'll make sure you're tagged and everything as well, so you've got your name up there. So mobile phone, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever works for them, right?
Yeah.
And same for me, of course. So people can get in touch with me via Instagram, via Facebook, via LinkedIn, and obviously we've got all our details on our live streams. So yeah. No, it's been really cool speaking with you, and I hope that some people have taken some stuff out of this. And I will say a massive thank you.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, we'll catch up again soon.
Awesome.
Cheers, James. Bye.
Bye.